Hey everybody, it's Dr. Deb. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. And right now there's all this wonderful support for suicide awareness and suicide prevention all over the entire world. We've all gathered together to help people with suicide ideation, people who have suicidal thoughts, suicide survivors, as well as people who are struggling right now with the idea and wondering, does their life matter? Is there anything better than what I have right now, meaning what they have right now? There's a lot of people who are in pain and who need help. And the wonderful thing about social media is that we have such a great community all over the world where we do provide services to help people in real time. Now, I posted something today about the elephant. That's something that we need to discuss about suicide. And I need to let you know that this is very difficult for me to talk about because it's something that, as a survivor of narcissistic abuse as well as child abuse, and then also some recent interactions with some folks, that the experience of suicide used as a psychological abuse tool, as a mechanism for control and for manipulation, is difficult for me to talk about. However, it is something that I strongly believe that we need to start having that conversation, especially on today. Because while there are people who are genuinely in need of assistance, genuinely wanting to take their own life, there are people who use this information about suicide as a way to bring terrorism and to terrorize an individual, to make emotional threats, to say things like, "You're the reason why I want to kill myself," or "I'm going to kill myself if you leave me." See, survivors of domestic violence, there are people in relationships right now who have somebody in their life that's using suicide to manipulate, to control, to do emotional and psychological harm with no intention of taking their life. There are people who are advocates for suicide, that are obsessed with suicide, who do the same. I speak from experience as well as from other people who've shared their stories with me. Even today, this morning, someone said, "You know what, when you do that video, I need to share that with somebody that I know because they need to hear this message." So if you're a person who's watching this video and there is a person in your life who's using suicide as a threat, as a way to terrorize you, as a way to manipulate, control, you need to understand that that form is abuse. It is abuse and it is abusive. Now, look at my hands. What did I do in those situations? I made the statement that to behave this way and to use suicide is abusive. You need to stop or this relationship is over. You establish your boundaries, you state your position, and then the ball's in their court. Here's another sentence that somebody will say: "I will never use suicide against you." And yet they might. And when they do, that tells you all about that person and that person's behavior and who they truly are. So, if you're watching this video and it resonates with you what I'm saying, establish your boundary, state your position, and stick to your boundary. There's many different types of services that are available for narcissistic abuse. We have peer support groups here on Twitter. My information is available, as well as using the hashtag narcissistic abuse, domestic violence survivor, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I think those are the main ones that are coming to my mind right now. It's difficult for me to talk about this, but it is a conversation that we need to have and that we need to continue to have while we support our brothers and sisters and everybody around the world to not feel alone, to let them know that their lives do matter and that they do matter, and that yes, we want them to stay with us for the rest of their life, and how we can help people with suicide ideation and thoughts of suicide. We also need to be mindful that there's another group of people who've seen a different type of using of suicide and the word of suicide, as well as the threats. It's been used as a manipulation tool as part of emotional trauma and psychological abuse. And that's wrong. And we need to have that conversation more often. So let's try to keep that dialogue going. And I thank you very much for watching this video. And I hope that it made some sense and that you got some value out of it, you guys. I want everybody to take care. This is Dr. Deb.